Hello, my name is Matthew Rivera, and this is my creative posting project for the Charitable Remainder Trust and Private Foundations project, and this will be the client portion, which is Ruth Hausman. Okay, hello Ruth. I had just spoken with your accountant, and we've gone over a few scenarios such as Charitable Remainder Trust and Private Foundations, and the benefits that it would have for you for everything you would like to have done, compared to just putting it into a simple will. We'll go over what a Charitable Remainder Trust is and a Private Foundation later, but just letting you know that's going to be the topic of discussion for this meeting. Okay, like I said, as far as options for everything we've gone over in our last meeting, I've decided that it would be great to, more beneficial for you, instead of creating a simple will, to either create a private foundation or a charitable remainder trust. And as you can see on this picture, here's a very simple diagram of what exactly each of them entails. As far as a private foundation, you would have the donor, which is yourself, create a private foundation. And in that private foundation, you're allowed to pick the charities that you would like your money to go to. And we'll go over a little bit more about that later, and the specific details of what you would like to do. As far as the Charitable Remainder Trust, similar, but as you can see on the chart, it's a little different. Instead of having the donor, you could have the donor, which is yourself, create a charitable trust, and then you could have it go to charity. Or you could have a wealth replacement trust, and then have it go to your heirs. And I know that's something that you are interested in doing, so that might be a very attractive option that you would like to take a more look at. Okay, I know as far as a private foundation, I think it would be very beneficial for everything you would like to do. I'm just going to recap a little bit just to make sure that everything that you wanted is in this, so there's no mess ups, because this is very important, so I would just want to make sure everything is correct. And if you see anything that is incorrect, just please feel free to let me know, and we'll go ahead and make that change. Okay, as far as our last meeting, this is what I gathered, and this is what we're going to do if you decide to go into the private foundation. Okay, you would like to establish the rules for succession. You would like your son to have the control of the assets after your death. And you would like him to pay 5% to a worthy charity of your choice. Also, what you said in your last meeting is that you would like your grandson Jesse to take over the controls of the investments after both you and your son pass away. And once again, you would like 5% you would like 5% to go to a worthy charity. And you also stated that you would like Jesse to create a board appointed by him to take over the investments after all three of you had passed away. And once again, you stated that you would like 5% to go to charity. And I think the big one that I got out of you is you would like all these assets protected from creditors. I know you were mentioning just in case of being sued because of the business you own, or divorce, or anything like that. I know you had a big concern on that, so we could definitely put that in there and make sure you're taken care of, and your heirs as well. Okay, as far as private foundations, I went over most of the technical stuff with the accountant, and we're just going to give you a brief overview. We're not going to overwhelm you or anything. These are just some of the simple transactions that are allowed by a private foundation. First of all, you would be allowed to give free gifts to the foundation without penalty. You can hire an insider, which pretty much consists of the board members or anybody involved, to perform professional or managerial services. So you could have somebody like that doing that, as long as they're paid reasonable amount of money. You can't overpay them or anything like that. If you overpay them, then there could be some issues there. And another thing is you're allowed to have reimbursement of reasonable and necessary expenses. For example, if you would like to take your grandson, if he was part of the board, the junior board of the private foundation, if you would like to take him to, let's say, Disney World, you could easily go ahead and do that and pay for the expenses, as long as there's business pertaining to the private foundation taking place. If it's not, and if it's not reasonable expenses, then obviously you would not be able to get reimbursed for that or reimburse anybody. And obviously, all these permitted transactions are free of penalty, which is something I know you're concerned about. Okay, just a simple example. I don't want to overwhelm you with numbers or anything, and like I said, I went over it with the accountant and the numbers checked out. But just so you could have a better understanding of how a private foundation works, we're going to assume that, let's just say you have $3 million worth of stock, okay? Like I said, we're not going to overwhelm you with percentages and taxes or anything like that. I'll be able to take care of that. Your county will be able to take care of that. So we'll just keep it really simple. After paying the taxes on the $3 million, you're only going to have $600,000 left. So you could see that's a huge portion. You're losing a huge portion just on taxes for a capital gain. So that's if you do not do a private foundation. So you could already see how a private foundation is going to be beneficial to you. Now on the flip side, let's say you created a private foundation. If you were to create a private foundation, you would get a charitable deduction on when you donated. So say you donate $1.5 million, you'd be able to get a charitable deduction for that. Obviously, you couldn't do it for all the portion. It would only be up to a certain percentage of what you make overall. That's 20%. Like I said, you really don't have to worry about that. We'll take care of that for you. But that's just something to take into consideration. So when you do make a charitable deduction, you will be able to deduct that off of any capital gains that you might get in the future. So you can just see the big advantage of having a private foundation compared to not having a private foundation and just signing up a simple will or going ahead and just selling the stock on your own. You could see the big portion of taxes taken away from that. Okay, now moving on, that was the private foundations. That's one option that you could do. A second option is a charitable remainder trust. And to keep this very simple, once again, it's an irrevocable tax-exempt trust. I'm gonna go over what it means by tax-exempt and all the tax implications that you'll be avoiding by creating one of these if you choose to do so. Irrevocable just means that you're able to set up the trust as you want, but once you set it up, you cannot make any changes or take it back. So that's just one key point that you have to remember with the charitable remainder trust. Everything that you put in there, you can do it exactly how you want, but you cannot make changes afterwards. So we got to make sure that everything you want is in there once we finalize it, or before we finalize it. Okay, as far as tax benefits for a charitable remainder trust, you'll be able to receive an immediate tax deduction of present value amount to charity. And I'll go over a simple example of that a little later. But that's a huge tax advantage, being able to deduct it right away. Like I said, compared to setting up a simple will, there'd be no deduction for charitable gifts in a will. So in case you are contemplating whether just to do a simple will or one of the charitable remainder trust, you could see one of them you can do the tax deduction, the other one you can't. Once again, you cannot. There will be no capital gain taxes when donor transfers to charitable remainder trust. So that's big. Capital gains taxes we saw in the last example with the amount of taxes that are going to be taken out of that. You can see how valuable a charitable remainder trust is. And also, you'll pay no capital taxes if you were to sell appreciated property. Okay, just a simple example. Once again, not going to overwhelm you with too many numbers, but let's just say you currently have a non-dividend paying stock, and you would like to convert it into a generating income property. We could easily do that for you, but let's say we're going to assume right now that you don't have a charitable remainder trust in place. So let's just say you have a stock worth $2.5 million. And once again, after taking into consideration the taxes and cost that we're not going to go over, but just to make sure that they're there, you would only have $1.76 million left to invest out of the original $2.5 million. So you could see the amount taken away from the original amount. Now, on the other hand, if you were to create a charitable remainder trust, there will be no taxes. So you'll be able to invest the whole $2.5 million. So you could already see from the benefits that I told you previously and this simple example of the amount of tax savings you will have by creating a charitable remainder trust. Okay, and I know just a minute ago I was talking about present value going to charity. This slide might seem a little complex, but it's very simple. We're just going to assume that you have $100,000 that you would like to go to charity after 30 years. After using this formula, pretty much the only thing this is saying is the amount of money you put in, we have to make sure that it's above or greater than 10%. If that number is less than 10%, then it won't be allowed as a charitable remainder trust, and you won't get the tax benefits. So once you decide, in the future, once you decide what amount you would like to go into the charity after X amount of years, we just have to, just let me know. I'll do the calculations, and we'll verify that it's over 10%. So there won't be any issues there. And just to kind of wrap it up, here's some advantages and key points of the private foundations and the charitable remainder trust compared to a simple will or just having anything other than this. Okay. Once again, the private foundations are very flexible, and you have a lower business taxable income. And as far as the charitable remainder trust, you have more founder control. Like I said, everything that we talked about the last meeting, you'll be able to put into this charitable remainder trust exactly how you wanted, who gets the money, where it goes, and how much, if any, will go to a charity. So everything that you would like can go in there. Tax exempt, you saw from the previous examples how important this part is. It saves you a lot of savings on the tax part. And the asset conversion, you saw in that other example that I showed how valuable that is. And in conclusion, I would recommend either creating a private foundation or charitable remainder trust for everything that you would like done. Just in the end, it'd be more beneficial than setting up a simple will. I think personally, for what you want in place, I think the charitable remainder trust would be the best way to go. You saw all the advantages that you would have in the charitable remainder trust, and everything that you wanted would be able to get done with this. So I would recommend you doing the charitable remainder trust. Once again, I'll let you take some time to think this over, and just remember, next time we meet, hopefully we'll have a better understanding of what you want to do exactly to make sure it's right the first time, because like I said, once we get this charitable remainder trust going, it's irrevocable. So we have to make sure that you take your time, make sure you know what you want in it now that you know what it is, and we'll be able to go on from there. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you next month. Thank you.